Sunday, 17th of July 2016. This is Sylvia Shivamurthy and you're listening to the newspaper reviews on www.athavan.com. Let's now look at the paper highlights from today's newspapers. The highlight in the Sunday Times says, Fly-by night at BIA from January to April. For 3 months next year, Sri Lanka's main international airport, the Bandaranaike International Airport, will permit flight mostly at night due to the revamping of its 30-year-old runway. The Civil Aviation Authority informed the airline and travel industry last week that flights would not be permitted between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. from January 6 to April 6 next year. And the highlight in the middle says, Ceiling on charges for surgical operations, scans and lab tests. A ceiling on charges for surgical operations and scans at private hospitals will be enforced soon, the Health Ministry has decided. Health Services Director General Palitha Mahipala told the Sunday Times that the required regulations will be gazetted under the Health Act through which private hospitals could be regulated. And the highlight at the bottom says, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya unseated. Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, constitutionally the third in line of succession in Sri Lanka, in the order of presence after the President and the Prime Minister and requiring urgent medical attention overseas, was offloaded from an Emirates airline flight from Colombo to Singapore minutes after he took his first-class seat last Tuesday. He was to travel to seek medical attention for a heart ailment accompanied by his daughter Lanka Dissanayaka, a doctor attached to the World Health Organization for 20 years. A team of doctors treated him at a private hospital in Colombo but had advised that he travel to Singapore for advanced treatment there. The Colombo hospital had contracted its counterpart in Singapore, briefed it on the requirements and urged the medical team to stand by. Let's now look at the paper highlights in Sunday Observer. The main highlight says, Foreign role where needed without judges. The government is contemplating alternative ways to ensure credibility of the truth-seeking and accountability mechanisms in the backdrop of constitutional stumbling blocks and President Maithripala Sirisena's opposition to invite international judges to sit in judgment in the special trial court. Another highlight says, SLFP to hand over VAT report to President. In the wake of the VAT hike affecting the public, the committee appointed by the SLFP to study the recent VAT hike will present its report to President Maithripala Sirisena this week, State Finance Minister Lakshman Yapa Abeyewardena told the Sunday Observer. The highlight in the middle says, WO arrested over Lasantha killing. The Criminal Investigation Department conducting investigation into the assassination of journalist and newspaper editor Lasantha Wickramatunge arrested a warrant officer attached to the Army Intelligence Unit in connection with the assassination, sources said yesterday. And the highlight at the bottom says, Jaffna Uni Science Faculty closed. Student factions clash over welcome for freshers. 6 undergraduates were injured when 2 student factions clashed over welcoming freshers to the Jaffna University. The science faculty of the Jaffna University was closed yesterday for a week after undergraduates were injured following a clash between 2 student factions over a dispute regarding the conducting of a ceremony to welcome freshers to the university, Jaffna University sources told the Sunday Observer. And now let's move to the paper highlights in Ceylon today. The main highlight says, Major breakthrough after 7 years. Army intelligence man arrested over Lasantha's killing. Another highlight at the top says, Life is a long losing struggle. The highlight in the middle says, Number of tasks still outstanding. U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs Nisha Desai Biswal and Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights and Labour Tom Malinowski, who met with a few Colombo-based journalists on Thursday, said that the people of Sri Lanka are not as yet totally committed of thinking ahead and moving forward on a path of common interest. Therefore, more dialogue amongst all communities could resolve much of the complications as they proceed with accountability, reconciliation, and the bringing in of reforms to the constitution. There's another highlight which says, Auditor General says will quit if I can't take firm decisions. And the highlight at the bottom says, Probe on war crime charges. We don't need foreign judges. That's all for today's newspaper highlights and we'll get back to you with more news tomorrow. Thank you.